welcome amazing Dallas ID dual language teachers to our quarterly content training number 3. So remember, this is for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teachers. Okay, meet our fabulous team. My name is Tania Gonzalez. I will be presenting today this training along with my partner, Virginia Huergo. I am the 3rd grade dual language ESL specialist, and Virginia is the 4th grade specialist. And we have, of course, Rocio Chavez. She's the 5th grade dual language specialist. She's not here with us today, but you have her contact information in case you need to ask her any questions. Okay, we have our learning objectives for today. I am learning about how quarter 3 will positively impact my classroom focus on curriculum and instruction. We will navigate the resources for quarter 3, and the part 2 will be exploring the resources or engagement strategies that we can use to support our instruction. Okay, so our agenda for today. First, we will go over the quarter 3 preview, the highlights for every grade level. We will explore the updates that we have for this quarter 3, including bridges, exit tickets. We will talk a little bit about that in a bit. Assessment updates, and then we will go over engagement strategies, resources, office hours, and at the end we will have the survey with the attendance. Okay, to begin with, we have our success criteria number 1. I can navigate the resources for quarter 3 to support my instruction. So first we have our IPC at a glance. This is the IPC. IPC, remember that it provides the weekly plan for the implementation of Amplify. Remember, you can access the lesson clarity document by clicking the Bridging the Knowledge link, or the engagement strategies, you can access the lesson clarity. We're going to look at something new that's called the Amplify visuals. We're going to look at our... Also, remember that at the very bottom of the IPC, you will find the pacing guide and the SERs and the ECR links. But now we have a different link that looks like this. It looks green, and these will be the weekly formative assessments. Pretty sure that most of us know what Curriculum Central is. It's basically our one-stop shop for everything that has to okay, new to the IPC, as I said, we have added the weekly formative assessments linked to All-in Learning. For every lesson, you will find in All-in Learning 2 options for exit tickets and an open-ended questions or a multiple choice auto-graded exit ticket. For these specific weekly formative assessments, these all will be auto-graded. So it will be for to have like a grade for your whole grade level, and you can use these scores for PLCs, and you will discuss this later with your admins. First of all, where can we find all that information? Okay, for 3rd grade dual language, what do we have for this quarter 3? Unidades en español, we have Unidad 5, Rayos, Truenos y Centellas, La Luz y el Sonido. We will continue with this unit for lessons 10 to 17, and the genre is informative, el género es informativo. And then we will begin Unit 8, Unidad 8, Aprender de la Tierra, Regiones y Culturas de los Nativos Americanos. Right. The genre for this Unit 8 is Ficción Realista and Informative. So lessons 1 to 11, a total of 13 lessons that will continue in quarter 4. So quarter 3 will cover 1 to 11 for Unit 8. And inside of your Curriculum Central, when you go to Clever, the units in English are Unit 7. We will continue Astronomy, our solar system and beyond. El género es informativo, lessons 8 to 16, and quarter 3 begins with lesson 8. We will continue Unit 7 in quarter 3. So then we will begin Unit 9, Travelers from Other Lands, Early Explorations of North America. The genre is informative. The lessons are from 1 to 9 that will be in quarter 3, but it has a total of 14 lessons that will continue on quarter 4. For the ECRs, this quarter 3 will have an ECR in Unit 7 in week 5. This ECR will be the assessment. For Unit 7, students will only need to write. It is a writing informative project, and that will be the ECR for Unit 7. So the ECR will also be the assessment. The second ECR is in Unit 8. Es en español, en la semana 6. And the third ECR will be about Unit 9 in week 8. The unit assessments for this quarter 3, the assessment for Unit 5 will be in week 4. Amplify suggests that you begin your assessment during lesson 14. When you do lesson 14, you will notice that during the reading block, Amplify suggests that you do the assessment, but it is lesson 14. And we have a total of 17 lessons in Unit 5. So what we will do is that we will begin the writing project, which is from lesson 14 to lesson 17. And then after you finish the writing project in lesson 17, you can now do the assessment for Unit 5. Okay, that's a little bit different than what Amplify suggests. Okay, so the unit assessment for Unit 7, we have Unit 7 assessment in week 5, which, like I said, will be the writing. It'll be the informative writing that you'll see. It won't be in online learning. It's just only a writing project.
Okay, so just so you know.
Okay, so now Virginia will talk about 4th grade dual language updates.
Good afternoon. Yes, for 4th grade, you are going to continue with Unit 6, Poesía, Palabras Maravillosas. Now take note that these are copyrighted materials, so I was unable to link them, but you will find those printed for your students in the Antología. That was the reader you used in Unit 1. Okay, so again, and in the IPC, I put a note in red, but today they told me they couldn't see that, but yes, it's there. So, you will find the poems. I was unable to link them, and you will find them in the Antología, okay? So, as of the lessons, we'll continue with lesson 4 and go through lessons 14. Now, regarding because it's poetry, you will not have an extended writing project at the moment. Now, the writing will be specific, based on the specific skills that are taught with those specific poems. They will be practicing those. Then you will go into Unit 8 in Spanish, Energía, Pasado, Presente y Futuro. Lots of informational text. It's sort of like a research unit, which does not have an end of the unit assessment. We are starting with lessons 1 through 8, and they finish in quarter 4. Please, for this, make a note to ask for the books, because even though there are some articles, you will have the books for Unit 8, which is La historia de los combustibles fósiles y el niño que domó el viento. That information is in the introduction. Regarding the units in English, you have Unit 5. You will continue with Treasure Island and finish the last lessons, which are related to the writing project. And for Unit 7, Geology, these rocks you're standing on, mostly the genre is informational. You will be doing lessons 1 through 15, being the last lesson an assessment. The culminating activity is research. They will be researching on a geological feature. Regarding the ECRs, on quarter 2, we did 2 in Spanish and 1 in English. This time, therefore, to balance the writing practice, we're doing 2 in English and 1 in Spanish. The first one is for Unit 5 is in week 3, which is an argumentative piece, then which is regarding the poetry unit, which is the Treasure Island one. Then you have Unit 4, which is in week 6, informative, and Unit 7 in week 9, which is also an informational one. And the unit assessments is Unit 6, then in week 5. Unit 7, you will have an optional, okay? I put a pausing point in the middle of the week so that you can have the mid-unit assessment. And finally, for the unit assessment for Unit 7 would be week 9. Now we're going to go to 5th grade. In 5th grade, then we will start with Unit 5, Poesía, Collage de Palabras, and also Género Literario y Poesía, and the lessons are 7 through 12. And in Unit 7, Los Nativos Americanos y los Estados Unidos, genre, informational and literary, and you will have lessons 1 through 12, finishing in quarter 3. And for English units, again, remember, when we are dealing with poetry in 4th and 5th, look for your texts in the Antología. Units in English. Introduction to Shakespeare, A Midsummer Night's Dream. You will continue with those lessons, the literary genre, with lessons 6 through 15. Which is a continuation from quarter 2. And Unit 8, the chemical matters, detectives, dinosaurs, and discovery. The genre is information and literary. And you will be doing lessons 1 through 9. And the remaining lessons will continue in quarter 4.
Sorry for interrupting, but Antología is not in a digital version, right? In Amplify materials, because I cannot find it.
Correct. Antología is only in a printed version because those texts that are in Antología are copyrighted material that Amplify is not allowed to share as PDFs. They are in their site, and therefore we cannot make the PDFs for you all, right? As we usually do with the rest of the material which is not under copyright, because there are some of the texts are specifically developed for Amplify, so so we can share those. Okay. It was digital at the beginning of the year because we asked as a district for permission, the special permission from Amplify to be able to post that, because we were unable to distribute the books in time. Therefore, and part of the reason was there was like Amplify was unable to give us all the books we needed. Under that argument, we were able to post it, okay? But since we all have the books, or the books should be in the warehouse, right? If you do not have it, please contact your textbook coordinator at your campus, okay?
If you go through Clever, you open Amplify, you open Biblioteca, and you have the books there. You have all the poems there in Antología.
Yeah, thank you. Let's continue then. Okay, so the ECRs, the bridges. So in the bridges, okay, we've been at the end of the unit, I don't know if you remember, you will find bridges located at the bottom of the IPC. So you should see un puente or a bridge, the picture of a bridge as you see on a Friday there. And we sort of modify a little bit the bridge as we used to do it. So we will show you the new version in examples as in reading, and as we did it for social studies. These are examples of what you could expect. So you will be having the first 2 slides, and the first one is going to be, as usual, the words in English and in Spanish, and the next slide is going to be an activity created for the kids to practice the words, right? In this case, so we have examples. Well, in reading we had examples, and they needed to figure out if this was an anthology, a fragment. For social studies, we did the same thing. So if you notice, we start with the same chart, And then the second, in this case, we are classifying the sentences as true or false, okay? And then they need to correct the sentence. So they need to have mastered that vocabulary to show understanding of the words, synthesizing the concepts of the unit. Okay, next slide. Okay, so the Q3 assessment at a glance can be found in the blueprint document, which is whenever you have an assessment, right? Please note that all assessments will be on preview mode. We are receiving lots of questions regarding that. So at the beginning of the quarter till the week of the assessment is going to be always in preview mode. So your students will not have access to take it online. And this is because as teachers read it and they have concerns, we are receiving feedback and modifying them. So these assessments are only activated the week of the assessment as it is in the pacing guide, following the pacing guide, okay? So please take time to preview the assessments, and if you have any concerns, email us so that we can forward it to the assessment coordinator, okay? Let's go to engagement strategies. We know that there are tactics you use, right, to interact, connect, scaffold the learning, and they are important. And we know as bilingual teachers, when we study for the exams, right, we learned about Fraction and how these activities lowers the affective filter so that students can acquire the language, right? So that is why it's so important to make sure to lower that filter. So the engagement strategies increase students' attention and focus. They move students to think more critically, increase opportunities for student participation. The benefits, of course, is they collaborate, and through collaboration, they are practicing their BICS, right? The basic interpersonal communication skills, and their CALPS or cognitive academic language proficiency, which they need a lot of opportunities to interact with each other and using the new vocabulary, since Amplify, as you have noticed, is highly content focused, right? With lots of vocabulary. So that's why we take a lot of time on developing or thinking about engagement.
So one of the activities, no, not activities, but engagement strategies that you can use in your classroom is called TPR. This is just an example of an engagement strategy that you can use like very easily while you're introducing your vocabulary, that almost every day you have vocabulary words, and you can use this strategy especially for dual language teachers that I think most of you have newcomers, and newcomer students could benefit from learning vocabulary with hand gestures, body movement to better understand and memorize the meaning of the words. But also, of course, this strategy can definitely benefit all students. They can stand up, move their hands, and have fun learning vocabulary through total physical response. Here's an example of how it would look in the classroom.
Vamos a utilizar evidencia textual para apoyar una respuesta, evaluar detalles para determinar lo más importante. Vamos a mezclar sílabas.
Un anfibio es un animal que puede vivir en el agua y en la tierra. Quiero que ahora ustedes usen sus manos y yo voy a repetir el significado de la palabra anfibio. Un anfibio es un animal que puede vivir en el agua y en la ¿qué? Tierra. Muy bien. Siguiente palabra, las branquias. Repitan. Muy bien, las branquias.
You will notice that in your engagement strategies section in the lesson clarity, sometimes you will see these words like TPR or some ideas that we can include for you. And also we grab also the ideas that Amplify or the strategies that Amplify suggests, and we put it there in the engagement strategies, estrategias para fomentar la participación. But also remember that at the bottom of your lesson clarity, you have this section that says recursos y estrategias adicionales. These links, one of these links are, well, some of these links are also strategies, like for example, the lead forward instructional strategies. There, if you access that PDF document, you will find like a lot of different strategies that you can include in different parts of your lesson. But today we'll focus again with elevation. So if you click on the elevation strategies link, it takes you to the document that has all the activities, like for example, the one that I'm showing that I can't see myself. Okay, here. You'll find all the activities, and today we will focus on find the fib. Okay, so this activity, you can use it while you're doing the read aloud, or students can use it independently while they read a text, and then they can share their answers with the whole class. So we will practice today, but first we will watch a video of how to implement it.
Entiendo yo mis cruz.
Okay, so I guess this would happen. Remember, when you want to play a video or log into Elevation, first you need to log in, and then you need to come back to the link. That happens all the time, right? You need to come back and then access the link again, like I did. So I'm gonna play the video.
Right here where it says she, right here, she realized that the valley that had always been.
Find the fib is an activity where students get 3 statements and they have to figure out which one is false. To prepare for this activity, I think about the content learning and I pick 3 statements or 3 ideas that they need to know about, and I'll make one false. We're gonna find the fib. There's only one fib in this group of sentences. We're gonna look for evidence that shows me whether or not the author thinks mountaintop removal mining is an excellent idea. You're reading your 3 sentences, you're finding your fib. The other 2 sentences are true, and you have to prove all of your sentences.
Oh, I found pollution right here. Pollution from the mountaintop removes mining, making people living in the towns below the mountains. Yeah, it's right there.
How were you able to find your evidence? Lenny? Oh, you look for clue words. So can you give me an example?
Dangerous and pollution.
Oh, you knew that the words you were looking for was dangerous and pollution. That is such a smart idea. Now, sometimes we find the exact same word and sometimes we find synonyms. A teacher can use this activity with any content area. It can be used as review or practice to see if the students can back up and support what they've learned. You can't just tell me it's true. You have to prove it to me.
Do you think it's true? I think it's true. And check.
This activity brings in all the language domains because students are reading the statements, they're discussing and listening to their partner's voice, and then they're writing their evidence. We know that when we go back and reread and look for text evidence, that makes us a better reader. To support my Ls, I might fill in some of that evidence for them to get them started. Of course, they're still required to find the fib, but at least they have a starting point. I can also work in small groups to ensure that everybody is looking for evidence in the right places and on the right track. You should try Find the Fib in your classroom because it'll get your students talking and it'll ensure that they know what they're talking about because they have to prove it.
Okay, so actually for this activity, we're gonna find the fib, but we are going to find 2 lies. Instead of 1, I've included 2 lies instead of 1 just because I I had messed up a little, but we're gonna find 2 lies and we're gonna find 1 truth. So we're gonna do it. I'm gonna set a timer for 5 minutes. And as you can see here in your presentation, you have the read aloud. It is an example that it's for 3rd grade. It is included in Unit 7, Lesson 9, and it is about space exploration. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna open this link. I'm gonna set the timer and you're gonna try to read the read aloud or as fast as you can, because I think in 5 minutes you'll be able to finish reading. But then I'm gonna put 3 statements, and using the Zoom tools, you're gonna tell us if it is a true statement or a false statement. Okay, so time's up. Can you still hear me? Because I think I clicked a button. Okay. So the statement number 1, after you had time to explore these read aloud, 3rd grade read aloud, the statement number 1 that students would have to read and answer if it's true or false is Nicholas Copernicus was an American physician who was studying the moon. If you read the read aloud, imagine if you're giving this, reading the read aloud, maybe this time, if you're planning to do this activity with a read aloud, you can give the text to students. I mean, you're not gonna do it every time, but you can give it to students, maybe for this activity so that they can follow your reading, and they can have these statements and be able to prove to write the evidence, right? Because if they don't have the text, it's a little bit hard for them to remember or to write the correct evidence, maybe remember it correctly. But if you give the text to them, maybe just for this activity, they can engage a little bit more and be able to find the evidence. So the statement number 1 says Nicholas Copernicus was an American physician who was studying the moon. Is it a truth or a lie? Using your Zoom tools, please stamp using the stamps or the chat. Like I see some answers. You can put the correct answer, and you can also write the evidence in the chat. So what is the sentence? What is the sentence that has the correct evidence in the text? Yes, it's a fib. It's false, right? So I see there that the correct sentence that has the answer, Nicholas Copernicus was a Polish astronomer, not American physician, right? He was also a mathematician, and he was studying the night sky around the same time.
They were going to be using it.
Yes, thank you so much for your answers. So statement number 2. And you can do this after the read aloud, or you can also be creative and do it like while you're reading, so that they can engage during the reading and they can be answering like one by one and not everything at the end. So statement number 2, Neil Armstrong became the first human being ever to walk on the moon. Is it true or false?
It is on the bottom of your IPCs. There's a link for that document that you can access from your IPC.
Yes, that is correct. True, it is true. And the evidence, I see here that the sentence that has the evidence, like straight from the text, is that it says that on July 20th of 1969, Neil Armstrong became the first human being ever to walk on the moon. So it is true.
And this is a picture of quarter 2. So you're teaching quarter 2 right
and
now.
Statement number 3. Neil Armstrong was the only astronaut who walked on the moon on 1969. Is it true or false?
Okay, some are they created for knowledge, and they created for skills. If you compare their knowledge ones with our language supports, they're a bit different.
Yes, it is false. And the sentence, the evidence is that it says that soon after Armstrong said these famous words, Buzz Aldrin joined him to walk on the surface, where they bounced and hopped to get around because of the moon's low gravity. So he wasn't alone. He wasn't the only one. He was the first one, right? But he wasn't the only one. Buzz Aldrin joined him later, and the sentence that has the evidence already was provided. Thank you, Mr. Pineda. Miss Millie Leeper, thank you for your answers. Thank you, everyone. And now that we already practiced doing this activity, now we can, let me clean the
picture from quarter 2, because right now, as of today, we still do not
Okay.
have the.
So now we can explore. I'll give you 10 minutes, like it is the last thing we're gonna do. And you're gonna go to your specific slide, for example. Let me close this. For example, next slide has the third grade information. Third grade slide, you're gonna put the unit that you're gonna use it, lesson, what lesson, and the page that has the lesson in which you can use this activity, or pages, maybe pages, and the title of text that you wanna use for this engagement strategy. So are there any questions before I set the timer? You can use the slide. I mean, you don't need to open any page. You can write it here. You can write the statement so that after we finish the presentation, everyone can have access to this slide and use it for instruction. Yes, are you ready? Remember, you will need to go to your IPC, go to the first week of instruction, and plan with your grade level teachers what lesson can you use to incorporate this activity. Okay, so I'm gonna set the timer now. And the objective of this practice was just for you to explore, and maybe when you are internalizing your lesson, you can think about this activity, that how can you include it, or maybe it fits in some of your lessons later in quarter 3.
Okay, so we have additional resources, and very quickly, I want to only stop in the PLC package. If you can show that slide.
Yes,
okay, thank you. So if you find that your students need help,
okay,
with
this one,
gathering the evidence for the ECR, okay, there's a PLC package here. You can go through Cornerstone and enroll and do it at your own pacing. So there's support in that. Okay, the rest, some of the activities, some of the additional resources you can explore on your own to value your time, because I know we are on point. So if you can go then to the surveys, this is the way you get your attendance. So if you could please complete 2 surveys, one for academic services, the RLA portion, and the other one for dual language. Let me